Herbert Scheibner. He's a former Austrian defense minister and currently president of the European Institute for Counterterrorism and Conflict Prevention. Herbert, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So we look at that map day by day of Russian influence along the border of Ukraine, and we see Russian control slowly creeping inward into the country. How worrying to you is that current map?
Well, I think it's starting now to become very critical because if the Russian troops now targeting the big cities, it will cause, of course, thousands of deaths of the civilian population. So therefore, there is no doubt that the only solution for that conflict is an immediate ceasefire. So I hope that the negotiations now will have any success. And to come back to negotiations and to political solutions. Otherwise, if this criminal war will continue, the bill has to be paid by the civilians, and we have to do anything we can to avoid this.
At this point, how would you assess the Ukrainians' ability to save their country from this attack?
Well, I think this is very exciting, and I think President Putin has underestimated this situation, the resistance of the Ukrainian population. I saw yesterday a report about a 17-year-old girl. She stood at a checkpoint close to a city in Ukraine, and she said she will stay and she will defend her city and the country. And I think this is really amazing and impressive. And I think President Putin and the Russian army, they cannot win this war. They are strong, of course, but they cannot occupy the country and they cannot rule the population.
Yeah, I saw a video online yesterday of a young woman teaching people how to operate abandoned Russian tanks. You do see determination there, but let's talk about the talks that are supposed to happen today. Russia is still making these demands, for example, that Ukraine needs to give up the so-called breakaway regions of Luhansk and Donetsk, that it needs to give up on Ukraine, really that have been no-goes in the past. With Russia going into a second round of talks with those very same demands and more, can you consider their attitude serious in wanting a ceasefire and wanting some solution to this other than military?
Well, I think President Putin should know from the history, and Russia was one of the victims of the Second World War, of the aggression of Nazi troops, that if a dictator tries to fight against the whole world, he will not win in the end. He will lose everything. And I think for that, this decision of the General Assembly of the United Nations was so important that we have seen this is not a case of Europe, it's a case of the whole world, that the big majority of all the countries are supporting the peace and the end of this war. And this is an aggressive and a war crime. So this, I think, is an important symbol. What will be next? Honestly speaking, is very difficult, because I think after this case, after this war, it will not be possible that the Russian people in the Donbass, they live together with the Ukrainians as they have done it before. Of course, it was a mistake that this long time crisis was not be solved, and there were maybe from all the sides not enough initiatives to solve this crisis. But this war has changed the situation totally, and it will be a decision of the Ukrainian people how their future will be. We have to support them now to succeed, and I think we also have to discuss a new security structure. What we have, it would have been necessary to do this 20 years ago, but it's now a starting point, and I hope we will take this immediately to do this and to discuss this for the future.
So Ukraine's allies and supporters of democracy around the world will not send troops to help Ukraine, and it is understandable the reasons for doing so. So they're trying to do the next best thing up to that point, which is send the best equipment, Javelin missiles that can attack tanks, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles. How much of a dent could these moves make to help Ukraine defend itself against an army twice its size, an air force twice its size?
Yeah, well, I think in the end, there will be not a military solution. All this equipment, if it reaches the troops already, can maybe enlarge the price for the Russians for this military action, but I think it is necessary to show that there is no opportunity to win this war. Therefore, also the strict economic sanctions are very important. I sometimes criticize these long-time small economic sanctions in the past against countries because they always hurt the civilian. But these massive sanctions all over the world from combined and shows a massive solidarity with the people in Ukraine, I think that this is able to change even the situation inside Russia. Maybe this is also an opportunity that inside Russia there will be an opposition against this military action, and we hope that we see then immediate results.
Got it. All right, Herbert Scheibner, former Austrian defense minister, thank you so much for joining us.